I'm not afraid of failure. I have failed, absolutely. I tell my management team, if you're not failing, you're not trying. Because if you're succeeding at everything, you're not stretching enough. I want every one of you at the end of the year to be telling me something you failed at, And I've lived my life that way, and not afraid of failure. I think God, family, work kind of thing, I try to keep my priorities right and in alignment. I don't always get it right, trust me, but I try to live by that. I think if you ask anybody, on my management team or on my board or that knows me well professionally, they would say my greatest strength is that I'm a strategic thinker. I lost my father when I was 33, and I was in graduate school in the PhD program and interviewing for jobs when I learned that he was ill and terminal and probably would not live very long. And so I took my first post to be close to my father, which was in Orlando, Florida at the University of Central Florida. So I became an assistant professor there. And I thought I would just stay until my father passed. When I moved to Orlando for my first faculty position, my daughter was 2 and my son was 3 days old when we got into the U-Haul to move. And so I had young children, and I wanted my father to be around my children before he passed. And I'm a kind of a goal-oriented person who's not easily defeated by things. But when your father's dying, there's nothing you can really do about that. And it was like the first thing in my life that I couldn't find a solution to. I couldn't find a workaround, So it was a very painful process and a painful loss for me. I thought that once my father was gone, I would go on to another university, but I ended up staying there for 10 years, and it was a great period of my career and a great place for the early childhood of my children. So it really ended up being a blessing to be there. I went there very begrudgingly, that I didn't really want to go there, and as it turned out, it was a great run in my career, and we did get to spend those last 2 years close to my dad.
Well, I think I was an unlikely match for Queens. And so it's a very long story about how the whole thing piqued my interest, but it was a very unlikely thing that I would ever come to interview here. And I came to interview as dean of the business school, but ended up being hired as dean and president in waiting for Queens. And that was a moment in time for me, was to accept the interview. And then when I came, Hugh McCall, I was supposed to interview with Hugh McCall as part of the process, and he couldn't be here. And I determined that while I love the people here in the school, was very interesting, it wouldn't be very wise from a career perspective to make this transition. But because Hugh couldn't be here on the first days I interviewed, he asked me to come back and interview again. And I did that, like 4 days later, begrudgingly, but I thought I have to be respectful. And so Hugh McCall is the chairman of the board of the largest bank in the country. I should do the decency of showing up for the interview, but I thought I would fly in, fly out, and be gone. And he was the most persuasive human being I've ever known. And I did turn down the job, and he called me the next day and said, Pamela, he left a message for me. He said, Pamela, I understand we have some more talking to do. I need you to get on a plane and I'll back down here. And people would ask me, what did you say? And I said, it was Hugh McCall. I said, yes, sir. And came right back. So it was really a moment for me, for sure. And I guess I was anxious about coming here, but within 2 weeks of being here, I thought, how could I ever be anywhere else? So it has been the most phenomenal experience of my life. It's been my son, who's now 29, used to say, Mama, what's your legacy going to be? And I'm like, well, honey, with all due respect, look around. I mean, there's a little bit here. But it was a small institution. It had the heart and soul of, it just had a huge heart and just deep traditions, and people loved it here, and rightly so. But I would not describe it as thriving. There was, you know, a lot of older buildings, a lot of deferred maintenance, not much budget, that sort of thing. And so I saw my challenge as really taking the institution from where it was, preserving the tradition. The challenge is how do you grow but yet preserve what's special and unique about this institution.
We would like to see a new fine arts center before I end my career. I think we have a great opportunity there, but what my real focus in right now is growing the endowment to provide more scholarship opportunities for students. My dream would be that no student who wants a Queen's education and has worked hard enough to get a Queen's education would be unable to because of financial constraints. You know, not everybody wants to come to a Queen's. You know, it's too small for some people. It doesn't have football, you know, whatever. It doesn't have their major. We're not an engineering school or a computer science school. So clearly Queen's is not a fit for every student. But for those students for whom it is a good fit, I just would love to eliminate the barrier of financial constraints. So the rest of my career here will be focused largely on doing that.